Hey guys, actually recording this from Corfu in Greece. Come to visit my family for a few days. I was intending to do a preview, of the Arsenal-Leicester game this Saturday, but I thought I'd kind of go down a different route, if that's okay. I have been reading a lot of things since last Friday when we beat Aston Villa. Been listening to a lot of things, been interacting with a few Gooners online, and there are a few things that I've read and heard that quite frankly have made me cringe a little bit. There's a few things where I've read and listened where I can understand why rival fans call us Banter FC, why we're called flip-flops. I even said, you may remember when we drew 2-2 with Crystal Palace, how a lot of Gooners, including myself, were very concerned about our style of football that day. We're very concerned about the identity of Mikel Arteta, or does he have an identity? What is his ethos? I remember saying to a few people, wait for a few days, and if we beat Aston Villa, wait how the exact same people who are now calling for Arteta to go will get completely carried away after one win. I simply cannot believe some of the things I have read and heard. I've actually got a kind of list of them. But first of all, let me stress that this is in no way telling anyone how to kind of support their club. If you are one of these people who can find positives in everything and can put a positive spin on everything and can be hopeful after every week no matter what the result, then good on you. That's a lot better than kind of being negative every week, and that's a lot better than kind of, that's better for your health, quite frankly. If you're one of these people who you just say things for views, you just say things because you're trying to grow your YouTube account, or you're trying to get more traction on Twitter or Facebook, then again, kind of each to their own. That's not for me to kind of tell you how to live your life. The danger is, and it's not just in sport, but it's in life in general, the whole world, is we've now got these platforms where within seconds we can share our opinion with the entire world, and it doesn't matter what that opinion is. You don't really have to think it through, you don't have to rationalize it, you don't kind of need to share it with someone else. You can just put it out there within seconds with a few click of the buttons. And the danger of that is you're kind of educating that next generation of Gooner wrongly. So if you spent this last week and you didn't know a lot about Arsenal, you would generally think that beating Aston Villa, no matter how good the performance was the equivalent of beating Barcelona in the Pep Guardiola era. You would think that Arsenal being 10th in the league is a club in the right direction. You would think that winning 4 games out of a possible 9 in the Premier League is acceptable for a club our size. And it's okay if you're kind of saying all these things because you want to be positive and maybe you're just trying to convince yourself. That's okay. Like I said, it's okay if you're just doing it purely for YouTube or Facebook, or you're just doing it for views and subscribers, and maybe you just want a debate. All of that's okay. The danger is if you actually believe it, if you're actually starting to believe in what you're saying. And I generally think that's what some of our fans are actually starting to do. So, trying to think which way to go. Should we go this way? So, let me share a few things with you that I've kind of read this week. So Manchester United lose 5-0 to Liverpool. And of course, let's all banter Manchester United. That's what football's about, isn't it? It's bantering your friends, bantering your family. And if you can't banter Manchester United when Liverpool have just come to Old Trafford and took a massive dump, then when can you? That's what football's about. Banter, fun. Let's not ever take anything too seriously. And last Sunday was one of those results which will last the test of time. That in decades you'll be talking about, oh, do you remember when Liverpool went to Old Trafford and won 5-0? My brother supports Manchester United. My best friend supports Liverpool. We've got a WhatsApp group where you can imagine the banter that's gone on. I've got work colleagues who support Manchester United. So, of course, you go into work on the Monday and you banter them. But never in my wildest dreams did I ever think about making Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0, Liverpool 5, sorry. Never did I think I'll make that about Arsenal. Because my football knowledge makes me better than that. My football knowledge makes me above that. Where it's like, I'm in no position to mock Manchester United, because that would be a complete lack of self-awareness of where Arsenal are. Yet, I've read numerous comments this week on numerous platforms where essentially the narrative is, Manchester United were predicted to challenge for the title, and look at Arsenal, we are now joint points with Manchester United. And you think, is that how far we have fallen? That we are now, I don't know what the word would be, celebrating, showing off, patting ourselves on the back, but just because we're level on points with Manchester United, just because they happen to have been called title challengers. Maybe Man United were second and we were third, but this is a terrible Manchester United. This is a Manchester United who, if you believe reports, their boardroom have sat down this week to discuss the manager's position. You've got a lot of Manchester United fans who want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to go. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's a legend at that club. For a lot of that fan base, he gave them the best few seconds of their life football-wise in 1999 in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. Manchester United fans won't enjoy calling for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be sacked. They won't get any satisfaction out of that. The fact they're doing that, the fact they're saying that, shows you how low Manchester United have fallen. So, we shouldn't be happy, we shouldn't be content that we're level on points with Manchester United, because, just say it out loud, that doesn't make sense. Manchester United have an appalling season. Manchester United aren't in the title race. Manchester United fans want their managers to be sacked, and we're technically below them, and we're boasting, we're showing off about that. It actually makes no sense. I've heard another one. Mikel Arteta, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Frank Lampard. And people are saying, well, I guess Arteta's won that argument. And of course it's implying that here are 3 young managers, 3 young coaches, all given kind of an opportunity by clubs that they played for. And the consensus is, well, Lampard's got sacked by Chelsea. It seemed a case of when and not if Solskjaer gets sacked by Manchester United. So I guess that proves that Mikel Arteta is the better young coach, because Arsenal are unbeaten, or having an unbeaten run at the moment. And you actually again go, and this would be an example of wrongly educating our younger fan base. If Roman Abramovich was the owner of Arsenal, or if Mikel Arteta was at Stamford Bridge, Arteta would have got sacked ages ago. It's more a reflection of the ambition of your owners. It's got nothing to do with how good each manager's done in their job. In a matter of fact, if you really want to break it down, Mikel Arteta's never finished above Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the league. He didn't finish above Frank Lampard in the league. Frank Lampard finished fourth. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer finished second. The highest Mikel Arteta has finished is 8th. That's our worst league position in a quarter of a century. Again, people are going to call you negative, but those are facts. When you one day look up Arsenal's worst Premier League finish, worst finish in 25 years at least, it will have Mikel Arteta's name right next to it. And I like Arteta, and I want to succeed. I want him to succeed. But that doesn't mean you can just make things up. That doesn't mean when someone does the bare minimum, you can come out and make out that he's doing a job that he isn't. Out of him, Lampard and Solskjaer, he's finished lowest. He's never finished above those two. I haven't got it in front of me, but maybe you guys can tell me the day Frank Lampard got sacked at Chelsea, Chelsea may have even been above us. So when we're saying, sorry, I wasn't going to run over. When we're saying that Arteta's doing such a better job, or Arteta's proven that he's better than these other two young coaches, it's simply, no, he's just been lucky to work with an owner with zero ambition. So even in my predictions, I've been called a negative fan who wants Arsenal to lose. Now, I've been to the North London derby this season. I've, went all the way from Wales just to watch a League Cup game in midweek. I've done this prediction league this is the second season where I've involved people, but a lot of you will know that I kind of write for just Arsenal Daily, so I'm certainly not a negative fan. I'm a fan though who, I don't think there's anything wrong, not just in sport but in life, where having a certain standards and you don't have to accept for little. You can shoot for the moon. No one here, no one I've heard of within our fan base, even the people who agree with me, nobody is saying that Arsenal have to challenge for the Premier League. I've openly said that I've accepted that while Stan Kroenke's our owner, Arsenal will never win the Premier League again. No one's even expecting us to challenge for the top 4. What I am expecting is that you can't have it both ways. So if you are regressing, which we clearly are year on year, that's a fact, and if we are going backwards, I at least expect that to be acknowledged, because part of finding a solution is admitting you have a problem. So if you're 10th in the league, and if you're losing, what have we lost? Well, we've won 4 out of 9, haven't we, in the league? If fans are saying, for example, that after the North London derby, right, Dan, we've got some winnable fixtures which is going to help us close the gap and make up for the poor start we've had, and then you win one league game, I expect there to be a bit of honesty, not just, let's purely focus on the Aston Villa result. In the last 3 games, we got outplayed at Brighton. For large periods, we got outplayed at home to Crystal Palace. So we've won 1 out of our last 3 games. If a Tony Adams was at our club, a Martin Keown, a Lee Dixon, a Ray Parlour, Thierry Henry, a Patrick Vieira, they would say that this isn't acceptable because we are Arsenal. We are the Arsenal. Instead, we're having fans say, well, if we beat Leicester, we're joint points with 4th. No. If we beat Leicester, we're joint points with 4th, not because of anything we've done, but because the fixture list happens to say that you're playing first this weekend. 18 other clubs would have games in hand. People, I read, having a conversation with someone at the moment where it's like, finally, it looks like that the tactics are being realised. That was the word. Tactics are being realised. And I'm saying, yeah, against Aston Villa, the tactics were being realised. The tactics weren't being realised against Crystal Palace. The tactics weren't being realised against Brighton. The tactics weren't being realised when we lost 5-0 against Man City. The tactics weren't being realised when we're losing to Brentford. The tactics weren't being realised when Chelsea came to the Emirates and won comfortably. And then my favourite, that don't look at the league table. The league table is it's simply not a reflection of the direction of where this team is at. Well, you're saying that because it suits your argument, because if we were top of the league right now, we would all be saying it certainly is a reflection. But B, what other reflection is there? What other reflection is there? You know, you win a game, you get 3 points. You lose a game, you get 0 points. You draw, you get 1 point. So if after 9 games you're 10th and you've won 4 of those games, that's a reflection of things aren't going too well, are they? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying we're the Arsenal, you know, and we should be expecting bigger than this. Don't ever accept anything less. I've written this article before. Where am I negative at the moment? Damn straight I'm negative because I love Arsenal. We finished 8th consecutively with no European football for the first time in 25 years. Why would I be positive? Because we beat an Aston Villa. If you are my age group, beating Aston Villa was nothing that you would write home about. It was nothing that you would show off about. Some of you, I hate to say it, are coming across as either very naive or very arrogant or both. And you take the emotion out of it, I can understand why there are fans who want us to fall flat on our face. Because let's be honest, we're ripping it into Man United at the minute, and we're ripping it into Tottenham. They've had a bad season. We're below both, by the way. We're below both of those clubs. And yet, we're heading in the right direction. That makes no sense, does it? If a Tottenham fan came up to you now, and we're 10th, and they were like, oh yeah, we're heading in the right direction, would you honestly not point to the league table? Would you honestly not say you're 10th? If Manchester United go and beat Tottenham, and they turn around and went, yep, we're on the op, our tactics are being realised, would you honestly not point to, hey, didn't you lose at home to Aston Villa? Didn't Liverpool just score 5 against you? You know, there is nothing wrong with Arsenal being 10th and me saying that is not good enough. And it's not good enough. And if it is good enough to you, then I'm allowed to ask the question, why did we get rid of Arsene Wenger? Why did we force out the greatest manager in our history for this? It makes no sense. We've gone from before Stan Kroenke challenging for the title to only challenging for the top 4. So, it's okay if we win the Europa League, that gets us back in the Champions League, to no European football at all. And somehow, some way, he has got a lot of our fan base thinking that this is okay, and it's simply not. And there is nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong, with saying this is not acceptable. This idea that I'd like us to lose to Leeds is rubbish. I swear on anything in my life that if Arsenal went on a 10-game winning run now, I tell you I'm wrong. I tell you I'm absolutely wrong. Arsenal winning every weekend is bigger than me being proven correct. I don't need to be proven correct because I haven't really made an opinion. I've just commented on what the table says. The table says that we're 10th. So unless 10 teams are in the race for the top 4, again, that makes no sense to me. The bottom line is, though, from Mikel Arteta's point of view, it doesn't matter if it's deluded. It doesn't matter if it's unfounded. He's got to do what he's got to do to have that squad as confident and with as much belief as possible. And I believe at the moment he's doing that. If you see the way we celebrated Callum Chambers' goal against Leeds in midweek, there's a togetherness there, there's a spirit there. It does help, of course, that it's such a young squad, so they're kind of all in it together. They've all kind of brought into this philosophy together, or whatever the direction is. And I do think there's a good confidence at the minute. I think if this game was a couple of weeks ago, I'd probably be more confident that we would win in terms of where Leicester are at. I felt Leicester kind of started the season poorly, but I've had a couple of really good wins. 4-2 against Manchester United, 2-1 against Brentford. In between that, they went to Spartak Moscow and got a win in the Europa League. So, if we're allowed to get dizzy about 1 win or 2 wins in 4 now and beating Aston Villa, then they're allowed to get dizzy about that as well. I sometimes think that Mikel Arteta kind of over-manages. If you see him on the touchline, he kicks every ball and doesn't seem to trust our players. And I think there are some games where you just got to trust your squad and let them express their talent. But this is a game where I think kind of over-managing, micromanaging, if you will kind of help us, because Leicester are one of those teams where if you play a certain way, you can make Leicester a lot harder than it actually is. What I mean is you can set up tactically in a way that kind of plays straight into Jamie Vardy's hands. Equally, you can set up a way where you can nullify the threat of Jamie Vardy. And I kind of trust Mikel Arteta in that regard. So my team, obviously, Ramsdale in goal. Leno didn't do anything wrong in midweek at all, but he is our cup goalkeeper at the moment. There is this kind of bug going around, isn't there? That apparently that's why Pablo Mari didn't play on Tuesday. Apparently that's why Ben White went off during the Leeds game. And there's kind of an uncertainty. Like Arteta wasn't very kind of transparent about who's recovered from that bug. Rob Holding was one of a few who went off with a knock. Arteta again didn't kind of want to unveil in his press conference like who's recovered from what knock. So in terms of my back four, I will keep it I'll keep it the same. I'll keep our right back and left back the same from the Aston Villa game. I don't think Tierney's somebody that you rush back unless he's 100%. So although there was an outside chance he could have played against Leeds and he's kind of back in training, I think, especially if there's a bug going around and maybe one or two you're making a gamble on, don't take a gamble on Tierney. So centre-backs would leave us with Gabriel, and then it will all be about, did Ben White recover from this bug? I think, just kind of going off what Arteta said, I think Ben White will be okay. Would be ironic, wouldn't it, if he wasn't and then Rob Holding hadn't recovered from his knock, because then all of a sudden Callum Chambers would have gone from not being good enough to start in the League Cup to getting a run out in the Premier League, which I would be happy with, because I actually like Callum Chambers. And then I think you just go with what works so well against Aston Villa, don't you? If it's not broke, don't try to fix it. So I think you have Lokonga, Partey. That's not easy to say. And then the fact that Lacazette didn't start in midweek means he's going to carry on with this kind of 4-4-2 system or 4-3-1 system where you have Saka on one side, Smith Rowe on the other. You kind of have Lacazette behind Aubameyang, and when the time's right, Lacazette can join Aubameyang up front. I was thinking that if Smith Rowe started in midweek, would that mean that Odegaard starts on Saturday? But my opinion is if you've got this bug and you're already kind of gambling a little bit with Ben White, do you want to start with two players who have both had this bug? I don't think the juice would be worth the squeeze, quite frankly. I'm going for a prediction of Leicester 2, Arsenal 2. I quite simply think it's arrogant to look at a team who have won 4 games in 9 and magically they're going to go on this winning run that a lot of you think they're going to. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting if we did draw with Leicester. Are we jumping in the crowd? Is that a great result? I don't know anymore. I simply don't know of our fan base. I believe once upon a time we had the standards and we had the leaders where you would think we can't afford to drop any more points because we're going to lose pace with the rest. But we'll probably draw with Leicester and it'll be more drop points, and then it would be 4 wins out of 10, and apparently I'll have to read that we're on the right path and that's acceptable, and Dan, you're negative. But not negative, guys, just we are the Arsenal, and 10th after 9 games is unacceptable. And for any of you young Gooners out there, don't let anyone ever tell you any differently. Don't let Stan Kroenke convince you that 10th in the Premier League is ever acceptable, because it's simply not. It wouldn't be acceptable to the Manchester clubs. It wouldn't be accepted by Chelsea. We would mock Tottenham if they were 10th and kind of pumping their chests over it. So, cool. Let me know, guys, your predictions. Let me know your team. Share this, like this, dislike this, call me negative. It's all about helping Just Arsenal kind of grow on YouTube. It's a really, really good work over the last few years of the website growing. And I know they kind of want to get these YouTube videos out and make it very fan interactive and get a lot of you to have your videos, etc, etc. I'm going for Leicester 2, Arsenal 2. Like I said, nothing is bigger than Arsenal getting a win. So I want to stand here next week and be told that, Dan, you got that completely wrong. I was called negative when I said we'd lose to Brentford. I was called negative when I said we lose at home to Chelsea. City, I said we lose. I said we'd draw with Palace. I said we draw with Brighton. So again, you can't have it both ways. But look, Leicester 2, Arsenal 2 wouldn't be a bad result, but it's not a result where I'd come out pumping, my chest and saying that everything's hunky-dory, because as long as Arsenal aren't bare minimum challenging for the top 4, we're regressing. Take it easy, guys. Have a lovely weekend. Like I said, join in with this, comment, like, subscribe. Take it easy, peeps.